Welcome! This video contains an introduction, an interview so you can gain deeper understanding of the subject from spirit level, and a group frequency calibration so you can start to clear the frequency distortion patterns around this topic. Enjoy! Hi everyone, my name is Karen Cheong, and I'm here with my co-host Dennis Kelly. This is the second in a two-part series on what will trip you up the most, the ego mind and the pain body. And today's video is specifically on the pain body. So let's jump right in. Dennis, what's your first question for me?
You know, Karen, one of the things that you mentioned earlier, that the second part of this video was going to be about the pain body.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that go through my head when you mention pain body.
Yep.
Is this an emotional thing? Is this a mental thing? Is this a spiritual? Is this a physical? Is this a psychological? This pain body, I'm not quite sure what we're talking about.
That's totally fair. It's a relatively new concept. It was coined by Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now and The New Earth. And I am not an Eckhart pro, so I'm paraphrasing. So from what I understand, he talks about the pain body as this emotional body that is negatively charged, that we hold within ourselves, that are all the emotions that we never accept, allow, and process through us. And it causes this desire to create pain in self and other. Okay, so that's what I understand it to be.
Okay.
It may be something entirely different. I think of the pain body as totally different when I see it on frequency level, so I'll talk about it in two different ways. So the pain body, the way I see it, the way I see it on frequency level, or experience it on frequency level, or see it in people, it's like a sheath inside your own body. Okay, so you have your physical body, and then it's like a sheath around your body. And it gets very, very, very activated when things that have wounded us in the past come up again. So that means that, for example, if you're in a partnership with somebody and they say something to you and you have a wounding of, let's just imagine, not being loved enough, right? So this person, for example, comments on a Facebook page. They have a dear friend who's, let's just say a female, and they're not in relationship with them, they're in relationship with you, and they say something like, "Happy birthday, my beloved," or something like this. And your wounding is around a relationship and about being loved. That might trigger your pain body to be like, why don't you love me? Why don't you say that about me? What the heck, why are you paying attention to her in that way? And then our pain bodies, because we're so triggered around this wounding, wants to feed. So then it will start to try and involve someone else's. So I'll snap at you to engage your pain body. So, does that make sense? So if you're my partner, I'd be like, why are you doing this? Like, I can't believe you said that, right? So now I'm engaging you to rally you up, and then I feel better. Release. Because it's like I've transferred this pain to you. Does that make sense? So it can look like that. That's a very heavily distorted pain body. It happens to the best of us, right? It's the things that trigger us, and we don't even know why. And it creates a lot of drama. Like, we like to feed off this drama. The pain body actually was created as an efficiency system. Okay, without the distortion. What it meant was for an efficiency system. It's like a sheath that allows us to run and be more efficient. So once you learn to tie your shoes, you just know how to tie them. Once you know how to get to work, you just get there. You don't really have to think about it too much. And when you brush your teeth, you get to relearn brushing your teeth every day. It would take forever. Right? So it's just yes, we call it memory, but it's sort of this internalized efficiency system, let's call it that. But what's happened is it's not only internalized this way of getting things done efficiently, so we don't have to remember it. It also is remembering our wounding, and that's what causes the pain. And it keeps us in pain. It likes to keep us in status quo. It likes us to stay safe. It doesn't like growth very much because things can change, and then it's like, oh, I don't like that. It's too different, right? It feels threatened often. So that's the pain body in kind of two different ways.
Can I stop you?
Please.
Emotions trigger the pain body.
Yes, or actions can trigger the pain body. Yes.
Words or...
Yeah, anything.
Okay.
It's a reactive state. Let's just call it that.
And the pain body is invisible.
Yes.
It's like a energetic
Yeah, it's like,
layer
yeah. It's just
around
like-
the outside of my body.
Yeah, it's like part of your body. It's like an extra sheath. That's the way I perceive it. I don't know how other people perceive it. That's how I perceive it.
So I have this emotional experience,
Yes.
and it's triggered the pain body.
Yes.
So what does that look like or feel like for me?
It feels like you get angry, upset, you want to release the pain.
Is it always negative?
It tends to be. Yeah. Or the pain can be that you want to like hurt somebody else, or you'll go inward and you'll hurt yourself. So you'll be like, you suck. I can't believe you just did that. That was horrible. Like, what made you think that you could get away with that? Like that kind of, do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or it can be at other, like same conversation, but at you to engage your pain body, or multiple people actually, depending on how distorted your pain body is, because it wants to feed off of that pain, really. Yeah.
So you kind of started this out talking about it's as if we have captured emotions
Wounding.
from the past.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we have buried them or suppressed them.
Yes.
And there's things that trigger them.
Yes.
So is all this of this lifetime, or is this too also something that could have originated from
A different lifetime.
or lineage?
Lineage. That's a fantastic question. I have never thought of it that way. But now that I tap into it, yes, it actually is. And the pain body, interestingly, can be manipulated by lineage or external sources that want to control us. So if, for example, like I mentioned, the pain can be at self or it can be at other, right? Because we're inflicting pain on self or other because we have this pain body running. Does that make sense?
Yep.
The pain body is an accumulation from lineage, right? As well.
Yep.
But it can also be manipulated or triggered by lineage patterns.
Yep.
Or external sources that want to control. Because it's like, oh, well, this is how this system, this being, this system has weakness, right? It's all there in the pain body. It's all programmed. All the things that trigger you, like right there in the pain body. It's like it's like an open program. So these things can come in and be like, oh, I know how to trigger this person. I'll just do this because it's right there on the frequency level in your pain body. So if you, for example, have a tendency towards low self-worth or depression or anxiety, right? Like, and the talk is, I suck. I'm never gonna be good enough. I don't know why I thought I could do that thing. I don't even think, why even bother? Okay. Something can come in and manipulate that very easily, right? So you think, oh, well, I have this opportunity, for example, to meet a new person. I have an opportunity, like I'm looking for a partner, and I have an opportunity to meet this new person. Well, something, if that's an expansive thing, something can come in and be like, okay, trigger the pain body. And so now I start to think, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for them. Maybe they won't think I like me. Maybe you see what I'm saying? Like all that stuff can be triggered. And it can be triggered by an external force.
Could I go out into left field
Go
for a
it.
second?
I love left field. It's my favorite place to be.
So you're using this something from the outside coming in. So I hear people talk about aliens, spirits, being possessed, so not being of their mind.
Yep.
So when you talk about things taking over or controlling or manipulating, to what extent are you talking about?
So I'm talking about the gamut, actually. I'm talking about religion can be a controlling force. Society or cultural can be a controlling force to keep us controlled in the way we are. It can be entities possessing us. So we're going to talk about the light and the dark. Here we go. So in the spectrum of light and dark, void of judgment, not necessarily good and evil, just light and dark, void of the human judgment. So let's call it brilliant. Well, brilliance actually contains the light and the dark, but let's just call it light. So as we go into the light side of things, the light has no need for us. Like it just exists in and of itself. It's self-perpetuating, Okay, so it's brilliant. And we actually seek the light because we think, oh, that will awaken us or whatever. But if we go too far into the light without enough rooting in the darkness, or what we'll call the density, the brightness will burn us. And we can go crazy. What it will look like is people go mad, or an accident befalls them, or they commit suicide, something like this, because they're not ready for it. It's too much.
Yep.
Okay. The darkness, on the other hand, has to do with density or matter. It can also be what we consider to, like, this is a charged word, but I don't know another word of it in our language, like things that want to feed on us, that are, like, call it dark. Let's just call it dark. Okay? Things that want to consume us. They need us for our energy, right? They need either our souls or our energy in order to sustain themselves. So they need to consume us, okay, in some way, shape, or form. So entities, which are of the darkness, can come in, will sometimes come into people, not everybody, just some people, because they have a propensity towards it, to manipulate and control in order to get access to this energy that we have just by existing in a physical form. Does that make sense? So they can come in and manipulate the pain body to be able to access this energy source. Basically, we're just food for them. Okay? So I am talking about the gamut from societal to entity. Yes.
So to me, that gets a little scary.
Yeah, I can understand that. It is scary.
So the question I've got is, how could you help me if I have this sense that someone else is having this impact on me, and it's not a physical body, but it's almost like a voice or whatever you wish to call it. How could you help me?
Oh, I can just remove it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I can remove because so the way,
so you can sense it.
Yeah. So entities are frequency patterns. Like everything is a frequency pattern. Everything.
All the way, we're cycling all the way back, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
To frequency.
Yes, everything is frequency. Everything.
Okay.
So entities are just simply frequency patterns. They have their own frequency pattern.
Yep.
That's it. So first of all, what I want to say is, if you are in your body, this is your body. You have dominion in your body. It belongs to you. Okay? So I just want to say that first.
Yep.
So if you ever become afraid, all you have to do is breathe or imagine, see, sense, or feel your spine into your spine, way in your spine, and just imagine yourself there. Just imagine getting brighter, okay? Or imagine connecting to pure source in your spine. Because then you're in your body, right? You have dominion over your body. All right. So what happens with what I do is that I can see it's not seeing, because actually I don't see, as I mentioned to you before. I just know. And so therefore I'm not limited by my senses, and I'm not limited by my own judgment. I'm not thinking. I'm just in it. So I can just remove the frequency pattern that is not native to you, which is this entity, and pull it out of you. Okay? Because it shouldn't be in your field. It just shouldn't be. And whether it's an entity, ancestors that are in your body, dead people that are in your body, we just pull them out, because they're all just frequency patterns. You just pull them out of the frequency pattern that's you. That's all. So it sounds like scary and all that stuff, but actually it's very almost scientific. It's just like you just remove them.
It would be extremely difficult for me to truly be aware if I have that situation.
Yes. Most people don't know.
Without somebody like you from the outside sensing that.
Yeah, or some people have a sense of it. Like they start to, one way is that if you notice your pain body is getting really triggered, like there's a lot of drama around you all the time. Your friends fall away from you. People find it hard to be with you. You find yourself not acting like yourself. You find yourself doing things that you wouldn't normally do. You're doing things that are really destructive, and you're like, why am I doing this? That could be an indication that something else is within your fields, within the frequency pattern that is you, and that you would want to remove it.
So would that be the blessing of the pain body? Is it truly forces us to awaken to the fact that it's time for change?
Yes, so the gift of both the pain body and the ego mind is that they are our greatest teachers. Because when we're all triggered and flummoxed and upset and whatever, if we can just even take a split second and realize that we are in that state, we're like, oh, there's where I'm wounded. There is where I'm weak. There is where I need to look. And that is extraordinarily beneficial. It's extraordinarily beneficial because it's fast. You're like, wow, that sucked. I wonder why that sucked. Because to me, like if you, for example, are triggered around fear of, I don't know, judgment. Yeah. Perhaps I don't have that. So I'm just like, I don't even understand why you're triggered by that. That's like absolutely not, I don't even know, I understand why that happened to you, right? Because my experience is not yours. My pain body is not yours. So that's a real gift because you're like, wow, I just got really triggered when someone passed judgment on me. That's interesting. Okay. So you can use it to see yourself more clearly. And it circles back to the whole accountability thing. Like, do I notice that I have fear of being judged? And then allow, and we're going to talk about emotions and feelings a little bit later, allow yourself that fear, to experience the fear. Just allow yourself, like what really would happen if you just allowed yourself to fully feel the fear of being judged, outcast, ostracized, all that stuff. Just allow it to happen, as opposed to being like, oh, I don't want to feel it.
So it makes a lot of sense to me now, what you were talking about before, because I know there's a lot of people that want to leave their body.
Yep.
Because it's very uncomfortable.
Of course.
Or because of disease. Mm-hmm. Or
of course.
For whatever reason.
Yep.
And so I would like to just leave this body.
Yep.
But you're saying where the action is in the body.
Absolutely.
This is where the growth, the potential, the opportunity is.
Yeah. Yeah. And even, like I said, that is absolutely true. And even the pain body, which can be such a bear in terms of, because, you know, it creates drama and we don't know. And afterwards you think to yourself, oh my God, I cannot believe I was so petty. I cannot believe I was so petty. Yeah. But it gets faster and then you recognize, oh, okay, okay, well, there we go. And then you can be like, okay, I apologize for that. You know, I apologize for that. I own that. I take accountability for it. I did that and I'm sorry.
Or you get a little cocky and you say, bring it on.
You are a braver man than most.
And then you get run over by the bus. And you go, whoa. Yeah. So, yeah, this is really fascinating though, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Is to have a sense of understanding about all these things that before were such a mystery. Mm-hmm. Why do I suffer? Why can't I be happy?
Yeah.
Why, you know... Mm-hmm. And so here it is, the opportunity to learn, to grow, and it's all right here.
Yeah, and it's really empowering to know that. Yeah. And we are the ones with the power to change it, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, could you help me? I hear so often when I look at your video or your website, GFC. Exactly what is that?
A GFC is a group frequency calibration, which looks a lot like a guided meditation on a particular topic. And what I'm doing is I'm helping you to remove the distortion patterns of that particular topic. And because you're coming together as a mastermind in a group to connect to pure source even more and to clear the distortion patterns of this particular topic, what happens is a tremendous amount of momentum starts to happen because of the energetic of the entire group. And each individual is able to move faster and ascend higher than they could have on their own. Welcome everyone to the Group Frequency Calibration, or GFC, on the pain body. So we'll begin by taking 3 deep breaths into our solar plexus. Our solar plexus is between our belly button and the bottom edge of your sternum, which is where your ribs meet in front of your body. Taking a deep breath in, holding it for at least 2 to 3 seconds. And after you exhale, please hold out your voided breath by at least
2 seconds before taking your second breath at your own time. And on your second breath, whenever you get here, please hold your inhale for at least 1 to 2 seconds longer than you did your previous breath before exhaling, and holding out the voided breath also for 1 to 2 seconds more than you did the previous breath. Becoming very aware of the air moving in and out of your lungs, the fullness of your lungs, the voidedness of your lungs as you breathe out all the air. And whenever you get there on your third breath, you will do the same. You will inhale, hold your breath in for at least 2 seconds longer than your previous breath, even if it is a bit uncomfortable, before exhaling all the air out of your lungs and holding out your voided breath for at least 2 seconds longer than you did your previous breath. And now becoming aware of your body's position relative to the room around you, or if you're outdoors, what is around you. Please become aware of your back body and what is behind you, as well as what is in front of you, in addition to what's above you and below you. When you're complete with your 3 breaths, please breathe right underneath the bottom edge of your sternum, that fleshy point, right at the very apex of where your ribs meet or come together in front of your body. And for those of you who are new, please note that I am working on you on the group, the subgroup, and sometimes even individual level. As you take another deep breath in, releasing it whenever you're ready. And what is happening is the mastermind has started to gel. And what a mastermind is when 2 or more individuals come together for a common purpose. And in this case, the common intention is to connect up your source even more, whether or not you're aware of it or not. And because it is the highest intention, our highest and best versions of our highest selves come together to this mastermind. And as a result, the group is able to move faster and go further than we could have on our own. Taking another deep inhale in. Releasing it whenever you're ready. So the first frequency distortion pattern that we are going to release as you breathe into the edge of your sternum, or imagine, see, sense, feel, or become very aware of this place, has to do with fear of or resistance to change. Okay? For some of you, actually for all of you, you've been asking for change. This is why you are listening to this session at this moment in time. Depending on who you are, it ranges from resistance to fear or terror, for a couple of you, of that change that you are asking for, or the consequence, rather, of that change, because it's unknown to you. And on some level, you're aware that this change is extraordinarily deep and fundamental, which it is because it's on spirit level. So let's release this distortion so that you can move forward with more ease. It is difficult to have the change that we desire or sustain that change if we have this frequency running. And our pain bodies are very, very, very good at activating this distortion pattern. Because part of the distortion of the pain body is it likes to keep you safe by keeping things the same, which is exactly opposite to change, okay? Even if you desire it. So taking a deep breath in to that point just underneath the edge of your sternum, the bottom edge of your sternum. Releasing it when you're ready. For all of you, this is a pretty heavy distortion pattern. And for a very large subgroup of you, when change happens as a result of this distortion pattern, pain bodies get very active, right? So you start to feel unstable, unsafe, uncertain. You start to act up, more drama happens, and then you want to cause pain to others because you need to release the feeling of discomfort, right? So this is sort of like a side result of what this distortion pattern causes. Please note that if I say something that resonates with you, it's likely you. And that if I say something that you really react against, it's likely you. So I invite you to be open to that possibility. Also, please note, and you've likely noticed this, that I'll be making sounds on my end. You'll hear me snap or yawn, even though I'm not really tired. You'll hear me hum, exhale sharply. And that's how I currently remove distortion patterns. So if you find yourself getting irritated by the sounds coming from my end, notice that you're becoming irritated. And that is, by the way, your pain body getting active. So now you're getting to see what the pain body can do. All right? Taking a deep breath into that very specific point underneath the bottom edge of your sternum. Mm-hmm. Good. Very good. So now please breathe between your belly button and that bottom edge of your sternum. And as you breathe or imagine, see, sense, feel, or become aware of either these 2 points, or if it's helpful to you to connect them with the tube, then please do that. As you become aware of these 2 points, let's imagine or ask ourselves the question, how can I connect only to pure source even more? That question, again, is how can I connect only to pure source even more? Or, if you prefer, how can I become even more aware of my connection only to pure source? That question again is, how can I become even more aware of my connection only to pure source? Whichever of these questions resonates best with you, go ahead and ask that question. As you become aware of the space between your belly button and the bottom edge of your sternum, and as you connect even more to pure source by asking one of these 2 questions, imagine that this space starts to become brilliant, getting brighter, more expanded, as you connect even more to pure source. And on my end, I am enhancing or increasing your own natural bandwidth in your connection to pure source. And just note how brilliant you can allow yourself to become. And also please note that this brilliance is in fact you. Nice. All right, so now please breathe between the very midpoint of your solar plexus and your heart. So again, you can either imagine these points separately or connect them with a tube. It doesn't really matter, whichever one works best for you. And this next frequency distortion pattern has to do with the distortion of the belief that change needs to be a struggle and or difficult, depending on who you are, or that it is hard work. Some permutation of that, okay, depending on what subgroup you fall into. So, all you have to do is breathe into those 2 points. Yep. And the next distortion pattern has to do with, depending on the subgroup. So one subgroup is that change is bad. There's not even a reason for it. It's just change is bad. And this is from the lineage, right? And for others, it's that those who change cannot be trusted. And the reason for that is because as you change, you become different and therefore not stable and knowable. So there's that belief running as a result of this distortion pattern, if that makes sense. So, with those frequency distortion patterns, it's very difficult to want to sustain change, even if you desire it on a conscious level. Okay. Good. The next distortion pattern that we're going to release is that of overwhelm. Okay, so this is a pattern that is often triggered by the pain body, that any kind of change is going to be overwhelming on whatever level it is, either emotionally or physically or in the world or with people that you're interacting with or whatever it is. But it's that of overwhelm. Okay, so taking a deep breath and releasing it when you're ready. As we release this distortion pattern of overwhelm. What if change is instant? And it's all about simply allowing it. That's all. Good. All right, so now please breathe into your heart space. And this next distortion pattern has to do with the distortion pattern of lack of trust in self. Okay, specifically your higher self. So you don't quite trust it to have you. Well, it's actually lack of trust in higher self and conscious self. So both, actually, to be more specific, more accurate, I should say. So, it's kind of a tough one if you have it. You're always second guessing yourself. So especially if you have the instability caused by change, second guessing yourself makes it very difficult to even begin change, much less to sustain it. So with this running in your pain body or through your pain body, this makes change very challenging. Now again, breathing between your belly button and the bottom edge of your sternum. This is the distortion pattern of, I'm going to call it fighting with oneself. Okay? So it's like a resistance to, so we like demonize parts of ourselves as we go through this. So there's a very large subgroup of you that sort of demonizes your pain body. So your pain body is part of you. It always has been and always will be. You are human. So, demonizing it does not make it go away. It makes it more active, actually. So let's remove this so that you can accept the pain body and have it integrate more fully with you so that as you expand, it expands with you. It becomes more elastic, less rigid, less triggered, less defended. Okay. Breathing into your solar plexus. Yep. There we go. So as we end, let's do one last thing together. Please imagine, see, sense, feel, or become aware of the very center of the earth. Mother Earth, from which we all spring. We are her children. She creates our DNA. So, please imagine that frequency, vibration, energy, however you perceive it, is totally fine. Or imagine it, also fine. So imagine that frequency coming up from the center of the earth, through into the soles of your feet, deep into the cells of your feet, washing like water through your feet, into your ankles, up into your calves and your shins, through your knees, up your thighs, including your hamstrings, your inner thighs, into your groin, your hips, your butt, and your tailbone, especially your tailbone. Washing up, now loosen your focus, washing up through your belly and your organs in addition to your spine. So you're just moving through your entire core. The frequency, vibration, energy of Mother Earth up past your waist, into your chest, your ribs, your upper spine, into your collarbones, your shoulders, down your arms, into your hands, and into your fingertips, back up through the palms of your hands, into your forearms, back through your elbows, up past your upper arms, into your shoulders, through your neck, into the back of your skull, the front of your face, into your brain, the center of your brain, which is your pineal gland, and then up and out through your crown. Good. This is a good place to leave you. You may stay here for as long as you like, in the purity of the frequency vibration of Mother Earth, deep in your cells. I look forward to meeting you on our next GFC.